Hi, Debbie here with a little project share. I just wanted to use up the leftover papers that I had from my little um, card series that I did using this paper line. And I had enough left over, so I thought I'd go ahead and make a little project. And my little project is a little mini album. This is a little 6x6 mini album. And this is what the cover looks like. Now, I mainly just made this album just to use up the papers. I mean, you can put pictures in it in some areas, but it's mainly just to use up the papers. So a lot of it is just me using the papers. Well, anyway, this is the cover. And these are the little butterflies from the paper line that I cut out and, put there with some, some of the flowers. And this paper flower here is from the paper line that I cut out. And then we have a little chipboard clock here. These hands will move. I just have it on with a little brad, so the hands will move. And this is the spine. This is just another cutout from the paper. And this is the back. And let me show you how this looks inside. Now this is what I mean about you can still put pictures. I left this blank, I didn't put anything on there. That is totally left like that, so that if you wanted to put a picture there, you could. Now this one is like a decorative page. You could cut out a picture and put it here if you wanted. But this is mainly just to show the papers. And so that's what this is about. And this has a little, I'm going to set that down so I can pull this out. These do have little pockets, so I made little picture mats. You could, put a picture on here and journal on the back if you wanted to. And so yeah, so these are just more of the cutouts of the butterfly. And so yeah, mainly just, now here is a pocket, and this is, you can put, this is just in there in case you wanted to put a picture. And here's some more cutouts, butterflies. A lot of butterflies on here because I had a whole sheet of butterflies and I cut a bunch of them out and I just wanted to use them up. So that's what we did here. And here's another. I know when you look at this page you think it's a pocket, but it's not. I mean, there is the little side pocket here that you can pull out, but this is mainly just decorative. So that's what that is here. And then another page just left for a big picture, and this one here is also a decorative page, and it also has, though, you can pull out and these are just like that. So that's how this one turned out. And here's this one. Now this one has a side pocket. I didn't put any paper on these. I mean, I actually still have some left. I could potentially put some on here. I just wasn't sure if I was going to do that or not. And so yeah, there's a little side pocket here. And then this also, they all have the little pull out, so you can put a picture on the pattern part and then just do journaling on the white side. And here we have this page here. So mainly I was just trying to use up the papers. And that's how this little book turned out, and here's that. These are very pretty papers. And then I can just take this out. And I mainly just put some flowers around, some lace, and some of this, it's called Bling on a Roll. It's just like a little blingy little trim you can get at a lot of different craft stores. And then just another pull out. But like I said, there's a lot of butterflies. I was thinking about even maybe going back later and putting glossy accents on the little butterflies, or just Winkostella or something. I haven't made up my mind yet. And then here's the back page, which is just a decorative page. And then of course this, if you wanted to put a picture, you could. So this is what I made using up my papers. Because I still have a couple of big pieces left. That's why I said I could probably, on these white ones that I didn't put anything on, I can probably add some paper to those. on one side because I still have quite a bit left. So I was able to do quite a few things with this paper pad. And there is a little short tutorial. I don't know if it's going to be short, but there is a tutorial after this that I show you how I put this little album together. And if you have any questions, just ask, in the comments. And I want to thank you for watching. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now. Hi, Debbie here. Well, you remember a couple of videos back, I did like a little card series. And this is the paper line that I used. But I only used one sheet for each card, so I have like 6 sheets left. And what I thought I'd do is I'd go ahead and make just a little 6x6 mini album with these papers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little mini album using the paper Craft&You design, and it's the vintage time. And these are the papers that are that I'm going to be using. So let me just show you. I'll just flip through it real quick, because you're going to be familiar with these papers, because these are the ones that I used for the cards. I hope you can see them all right from this distance. So yeah, that's what because I have them, I might as well use them. And they are really pretty papers. So this is what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to do a little tutorial on how I put my little mini album together. So let's get started doing that. Okay, so I'm going to use medium weight chipboard to make the album. And I cut 2 6x6. And then I cut this one is 6 by 2 1/4. So that will be my spine. So that's the chipboard that I used. And then I just have some white cardstock. Now I'm going to be using 65-pound cardstock to wrap the album in, because I don't want to use anything really thicker than that, because it might split when you go to, close it. And I put a piece of double-sided tape down this end, and I am just going to attach it like this. So I'll have a long piece so I can put my album on that. So let me do that. Okay, so I've got it attached. As you can see, I got it attached here. But this is going to be way longer than what I need. So I'm going to put it and show you what I did. I am going to have a 1-inch border around, around here. So I just made a 1-inch mark with a pencil so that I can have a 1-inch fold over when I do this. And I measured how long it's going to be going across. And I'm just going to cut this excess off right here, because I don't need that. And I'm not going to need this piece right here, because I don't need to have so much folding over. So I'm going to go over and trim all that away, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've cut it down, and this is the size I have here. So I'm going to take the chipboard. I'm going to put double-sided tape around the edges and down the middle, and I will be attaching it right inside, just like that. I'll line it up against the pencil mark. And then when I go to add the spine, I have an extra little piece of a chipboard that I'll use as a spacer. So I'll put, it's hard for me to show you, so I'll put this up, and then I'll just line up the spine like that, and then I'll have that little space. And I've already got my double-sided tape on my pieces. And I'm also going to be, in between here, I am going to be using a wet glue, and I'm going to use the Beacon 3-in-1, because this will not warp my paper. But even if it did warp it a little bit, I'm not really worried, because this is going to be all covered with the pattern paper after it's, put together, because this is just mainly just to cover up the chipboard. So that's what I'm going to do here. So let me, I can do this with you. I can remove the double-sided tape. There we go. And then I'll just add some of this wet glue to it. Because the wet glue also gives me a little bit of wiggle room too, in case I don't get it. Lined up exactly right. And then I'm just going to need to turn this just a little bit towards me, just a little bit so I can see. And then I'll just line it up with the pencil marks. Just like that. And then I'll just continue putting the other two pieces on, and I'll show you how it turns. Okay, so I have it on, and now I need to do what they call miter the edges. I need to cut the corners off of here, but I also need to leave a little bit of a space. I don't want to cut right up towards the chipboard, so I just took a little piece of the chipboard, laid it up there, and just made a little pencil mark where I know where to cut my corner. So let me do. Okay, we got them cut. So now I need to take some of the double-sided tape. I'm going to go around the whole chipboard piece here, and then I'm going to go inside the edge of the white cardstock with the double-sided tape. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll show you what it looks like. And the reason I'm not filming every little thing I do is I'm in lockdown just like everybody else, and I have 5 people in this family, and I can't expect them to just sit and be quiet while I do this. So they're going to be up, they're going to be cooking, and they're going to be doing their thing. So I'm just going to be doing like little clips on what I'm doing during the quiet time. Okay, so let me go ahead and get the double-sided tape. After I remove the double-sided tape on the album and before I fold in the cardstock, I have a piece of Tyvek. And Tyvek is one of those shipping envelopes that you can get at Staples or someplace like that. And it's a very, very tough piece of paper. And I am going to actually put that over my spine. And that's going to help reinforce the spine here. So I will put that on after I move my double-sided tape and before I fold in the cardstock. So I will put that over there just for some added support to the spine of the album. I'm going to be putting this on with double-sided tape just to let you know. I just put a couple of strips here, and then I also reinforced around the spine here where the hinge is going to be, so where it folds, and then I will put that on there. Okay, now after I remove this piece of double-sided tape here, I am going to add a strip of wet glue right under here. And then I'm going to I'm going to turn it this way. It's going to be easier for me to do it like this. And then I am going to press the paper up against the back of the chipboard like this before I fold it over. And then I'm just going to fold it over. And now I'm just going to work on the sides, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Also, the reason you miter is you need to tuck in these little corners. The little, you know, where you have the little, they just kind of tuck in, and they just cover up that piece of corner of your chipboard. And if it doesn't, you can always, you know, cover it or paint it or whatever. Okay, everything's wrapped. Now, the binding system, the system that I'm going to be using to attach the pages is called Stack the Deck. Now, I haven't done this one in a while, and but let me show you what. And it is in sections. So you have like a base, and then you have the parts that are for your pages. And for this particular album, since it's a 6x6, my little base page is 5 3/4, which is going to be the length of my pages. All my pages are going to be 5 3/4, and then my little Stack the Deck is in like 3 pieces. So we have this piece here. Let me show you. I got my notes over here. This one is 5 3/4 by 3. and this one is 5 3/4 by 2 1/4, and this one is 5 3/4 by 1 1/2, and they're all scored 1/2 inch in. So a 1/2 inch, you can turn it, then score another 1/2 inch. So these are all scored like that. And how you do this stack the deck is you put the largest one on the bottom, you put adhesive to the back of the medium-sized one, and you line it up in the center, and then you do the same thing for the little one, the smaller size. You put some glue here, and then you line it up, and then you just glue all the pieces together like that. And to help me, I have little marks on mine where the center is, so I can line it up, because if I eyeball it, I know I'll be off. And I'm actually going to just put these on with a wet adhesive. And you can use double-sided tape, and I'm just going to stack these up, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, this is what it looks like when it's done. You're going to have 6 pages, and they're just stacked all on top. And there's going to be a 1/2 inch spacing between each page, so that's going to give you plenty of room for embellishing and things like that. So the next thing I need to do is I need to take the base page. This is the one that's 5 by 5 3/4, and it's 5 across. I actually put a little center mark on this one too, top and bottom. And I also made one on the book so that I can take this piece and I'm going to glue it, center it, side to side and top to bottom, making sure the gap on the bottom and the gap on the top are the same. It's going to be, I think, around 1/8 of an inch is what it should probably turn out to be. And I will be putting this on with a combination of double-sided tape and wet glue, because your whole album is going to be on this right here. So you really, really want this part of your album attached really well. So let me do that. Okay, I have the hinges in. So they're in the book. So what I need to do is just cover this. So I cut out 2 pieces of cardstock, 5 3/4 by 5 7/8, and I'm just going to put that in. I'm going to line it up with the top paper here from this, because I was off a little bit, so I'm going to use this one on the top and line it up so it's straight across on the top. So let me do that. Okay, for the pages, we're going to need to cut 6 5 by 3 1/4 square and 6 5 3/4 by 6 3/4, and then on the 6 3/4 one on the long side, you're going to score a 1/2 inch, and you can turn it and score a 1/2 inch again. And that, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making little envelopes or little pockets like. And this is what they're going to look like. So you're going to take it, on your score lines you're going to fold them. So they'll look like this. And then you take the 5 by 3/4 square, and you're just going to add some glue or double-sided tape on these folds, and then you're just going to attach that piece to that. So let me go ahead and do that to all the pages and get those done. Okay, well, I have all them made here. Now what you can do, because they're going to go in your album, you know, in like this, because they're going to make a pocket. So if you want to make a decorative edge here, so that when you pull out your insert, you can do that now, or you could do it even before you glued it onto your page, you know, your other side. So if you want to do a decorative cutout to make it easier to pull your little insert out, you can do that now, or you know, you could have done it before. So I'm going to go see what I have, and I might put a little decorative cutout on that. So let me go do that, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, I just took a little circle punch, and I just punched out a little opening here so that it'll be easier to pull out, like I said, your insert. So what we're going to do next is you're just going to take your album, and you're going to, on the edges, I need you to take some scissors, and then just trim a little piece off. It'll just make you putting your pages in a little bit easier if we just angle that. So I'm going to cut all those off into an angle so you can see what that looks like. That's what I'm doing. I'm just cutting them off into an angle. And don't go past your little score line. Just go right up to the score line. So just take a little piece off. Okay, so this is what they look like. See how they're all just angled off? And it's just going to make putting your pages on so much easier. So what you're going to need to do, or what I'm going to do, is I'm going to put glue on this side and I'm going to put glue on that side, and then I'm just going to open up the little sleeve here and just slide it right over that and then just glue it down. And then when I get to the next one, I'll do the same thing. I'll put it on, and then after I have it on, I'm going to bring it over and then I'm going to line it up to the bottom one to make sure they're the same. So that's what I'm going to do, and now I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, I have all the pages in. So that's how they are, and you can see the little notches that I put out. Hold on one second. Sorry about that, we had a delivery come. Well, anyway, like I said, these are all the pages. Now, when I cut these down to make these little pockets, we had all this extra paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make those into the inserts. So I'm just going to measure the size I need, and then I'm going to go ahead and make my little inserts now, and I'll attach a little tab on it. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to start, I'll do that right now and get those in, and that'll be done, and I'll show you what it looks like. I did make some little inserts with the scraps, but I think the scraps from the papers, I think they're a little too loose for me. I'd like them to be a little bit tighter in the pockets, so I'm going to make some with my some other papers. Okay, these are fitting to me much better. The other ones I think were just a little bit too loose in there, and if you were to tip the album upside down, they would have just fallen out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the corner punch and go around, and I'm just going to round my corners on these. And then I'm just going to do that with the rest of the inserts. Okay, well now we need to start covering everything with our decorative paper. And for the outside of my album, I'm going to use this one here. This is the Vintage Time. This is number 3. This is the paper line that I'm going to use to cover the outside of my album. And I've already got everything cut. So this will be on the front, like so, and then I have a piece for the back, and then I have a piece for the spine. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those on, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, well I've got this for the inside cover in the first page, and then I did the exact same thing on the back. I put this on the back cover and then the page here. So that's what I did. So I'm just going to go through, and like I said, I'm just going to put some pattern paper on all the pages, and then I will show you what it looks like. Okay, well I have all the pages with their paper. So what I need to do next is I need to go back and, you know, make pockets and tuck spots and things like that. Some of these I have already made little pockets. I think there's a couple of them I did, and I did one here on the side. And then I have another one right here. And I also went ahead and put paper on the inserts, just on one side, to go inside. So I've done that on all the inserts. So I went ahead and got paper on those. So I wanted to make sure I had paper to do that. And so yeah, so this is where I'm at so far. So let me go through, make some tuck spots and things like that, and then I'll show you what it looks like.